Is. How's that, Chip? Is that better? Very sorry for that. I shut it down for a few minutes before I begin to start here. And I thought I'd start the program today with something that this is not the subject matter we're dealing with here today, but interesting to bring up the fact that for future, in about another week or so, we start doing some advanced C8 concept work in streaming and so forth. But I thought I'd bring this up today, let you see a little bit of progress made on pieces I'm going to be sending out to a foundation in 2 weeks' time for auction for a very good cause. This is just a basic buildup of the amateur I'm dealing with here. It's a C4 Grand Sports Series. I've done this, for example. I just wanted to show you some of the base work and some of the sketch and rendering work that we're doing with it. With marker, a little bit of pastel, which I'm going to add to get the rest of the lots of surfaces in. But that's the basic armature. And again, the most important thing about bringing this up is to really let the go look for a while. I got hit with them. Oh, no problem at all, Chip. Thanks very much. So again, it points out the necessity of getting in and just taking your time and putting together the right stains and building surfaces up. And what's missing here yet is some of the pastel compatibility to bring the whole sketch together. So this is a pretty good start here. What we're after, as I said, I'll be utilizing some Corvette stuff in the next couple of weeks to do some advanced C8 work, sketch rendering materials, and maybe a little bit of marker pastel. We'll see how it all begins to transpire. So that was the first sketch we did. And the basic armature is about the same. Second study, it's a little front 3/4. This time it's a sport coupe, not the Spider version like the first one is, but the same process is involved in it. You get a good line drawing done, you get the basic armature down, get the reflective studies and surfaces all working, and then what's missing are some of the pastel. We'll bring it all together to kind of combine the actual shape itself. So and finish the illustration. So that's what we're after. And this one's going out to auction as well. So all that to say, stay tuned. The next couple of weeks we'll be doing some Corvette work, and it'll be a lot of fun. And today's subject matter is a lot of interesting to me. A lot of interest, and that's just helmet concept work. I did a couple of pages here of just some advanced little sketches prior to the program, just to get things started. I want to show you basically the sketch process, and also the compatibility of working with that sketch process and putting some marker work together on some of the systems we're dealing with. So notice very lucid sketches, and I think that I can't get away from the fact that one of the things I think is the most important part of the whole process about why I'm on Twitch is to really develop a sketch rendering pattern that doesn't get caught up in being so perfect. Notice there's a lot of language in here. There's a lot of things drawing through certain things. I'm just searching for a certain shape and form. So this helmet concept design sketches are not really geared to any particular sport, like Formula One or a sporting device or a helmet of lacrosse, any sporting event. Just helmet concepts, looking for things or shapes that we can kind of move into and begin to take advantage of in time to come. Maybe refine some things and move into just some different set of circumstances. So what I want to do here today is just get back into the process of doing some really neat stuff in terms of just really cool things to deal with. So again, quick, rapid sketches, very nice things to deal with. And again, I want to really stress the sketch sign, and also I'm going to put a little bit of marker in here. It's got a little bit of flavor and a little bit of color. So let's go back in and just start some basic process work here. Let's come back in and just pick up a little bit of marker, tone this thing in just a touch. Same, just real simple stains. Let's get back in and put a little bit more in here. Just working with the shapes. Real quick. A little bit of reflective quality in here. And there it is, just kind of bring that through. A little bit of lens study here, just kind of a bit of a different sneak to it. Come back in through here. Let's get a little bit more concept and a little more contour in some of this voice box piece here. Just going to come back in and hit that up. Just a little bit more tone to it. And there it is there, cool. It's real quick, real loose. Let's get that little understrap in place. Let that go. Add a little bit of color to this thing, and just go back in and just keep the same basic flavor here. Let's go back, pick up a little bit of yellow. Follow the shape. Work through it. Again, notice real rapid. And I think that's one of the nice things about marker. You've got to really be quick with this stuff. If not, boy, it can come back and just really bite you, because it's a very difficult medium to work with in many cases. So let's just a little bit of reflective work on through here. Let's bring this into play. Let's kind of run that through. There's a little theme sketch on how to put together a bit of color and systems and so forth, and how to work with this beauty. And let's just go back and again analyze. What makes it all work, folks, is the fact that the drawing is very lucid. So keep the flavor of the sketch is very lucid. Let's go back in again and get a little more concept in this guy. Let's see if we can go back and get a little deeper. Let's go to about number 7. Let's go a little bit darker with this guy. A little bit of lens. Get that lens in place. Come right back through it again. A little bit of reflectivity in it. Run that through. Keep that pretty solid. I'm going to come back in and a little bit of recess in this. Again, let's get that voice box in place. Just real quick. There it is there. A little bit more of that. Let's come back into the lighter tone and just kind of begin to put a little bit of reflective quality here. So a little bit lighter. Really animated, very quick. No hesitation, just going right through it here. Let's come back in again. Let's pick a little bit of color up here. Some bit of this in. Let's get some of this, follow that highlight right through. Notice I'm just walking right through the actual shape itself. There it is, there it is. Underneath, a little bit of this spoiler up on top, and just a little bit of that. A little bit of underbody, just to get this guy to kind of click. And there we are. There it is. Again, a little bit more tone in this thing. Notice I'm following right through where the highlights are. To kind of bring that all together. And there it is. Another little study here and just putting some of these helmet graphics together. Very, very quick and lucid. Let's go back in again. Add a little bit of color in this thing. Let's get that form down. Let's gray that off just a bit. Let's take that same approach. Let's go a little deeper with the lens again. A little bit of shadow work. Let's drop this cloth lower. There it is. A little bit lighter than the actual lens itself. Just got to put a little more reflective. Just keep it nice and soft and easy. There it is. Let's bring that underneath and just a little more shape. And again, over the top. Run that through. I mean, look how quick that sketch comes together. Just by just putting together some very simple little pieces and facts in terms of putting together shape and surface and all the little things that make a huge difference in getting the sketches come together. And I think it's oftentimes too to come back in, maybe do a little bit of line work if we have to. Come back and clean things up a little bit, kind of slow it down just a bit. Not a problem there at all. And again, much more animated in the drawing. Really not slowing that thing down at all. Just got that little aspect in here. Get that to function. And notice, I mean, they come together very quickly. And I think the idea is to get some, I'm looking at a particular sport like Formula One or sport and so forth, but just looking some really neat stuff. Hey, how you doing? Doing some helmet work. That's right. I don't know if you saw the first part of it. Kind of stuck in a little couple of Corvette pieces I'm working on to go at auction in a couple of weeks' time. But I brought that into play because in the next week or two I'm going to start introducing some C8 advanced Corvette stuff. So I just wanted to let you see how the armature started to work here. But we're doing some helmet studies here. And thanks for the heads up on the sound, for example. I almost put together. Put it on mute, then I'm going to go live and forget to put the thing back on again. So thanks for your input there, Chip. So now we've got some little thumbnail sketches. Notice each one of them has a certain variety of just very simple gestures and not a lot of stuff put together here. Let's come back in and put a little bit of tone to this thing now. Let's put a little bit of background in it. Kind of walk that in just a bit. A little bit of presence in it. And just to kind of strike out of it. A little bit deeper into here, a little bit of an accent change. Just a little bit of background work. Just to highlight the shapes a little bit more. Build up some of the intensity. Take that in. And just underscore with a little more line work in this guy, kind of a little freewheeling, give a little bit of background to it. What do you think, Chip? There's a couple of little concept sketches here. There we are. Just kind of, I wonder if we could put some rockets on those. Yeah, we probably could inside that little pod area. That'd be kind of neat, wouldn't it? Again, just very simple little concept sketches here, Chip, and a little more darkness in this guy, so that's not so scratchy. A little bit of background work in here. Kind of give a little bit of a vignette study, a little bit more weight to it, especially in some of the areas here that needs kind of separate some of the surfaces we're dealing with. And there we are. And that hopefully will get it. Let's kind of come back in here and just reinforce what we're after here. Etc. There's a nice little composition page of just some little, very quick little thumbnail sketches on some helmet design. So there's one set. Just put that aside for a moment, and just again another series of little vignettes here to work with. We're just going to lay this up and get this guy ready to prep a little bit more. Just again, same background here. Let's kind of go back in and do the same thing here. Let's kind of get some color in this beauty. Follow through with some of the surface work. Notice again, real lucid, very quick. And again, just a little bit more impact on some of the lens surface here. Follow that through. So we kind of change gears a little bit here. Let's put a little bit of this into it, see what happens with this guy. More of an amber reflective lens kind of piece. Let's come back in again. Put a little more of that tone to it. Gray that off just a bit. Get back that reflective quality. Bring this into play here. Again, underneath, and just kind of scrub that cloth piece in. Let that kind of go through it. A little bit of shadow here. Get that snap in place. And the rest is going to be all paper. And that's all you need. I mean, that's all it takes to get this guy to read here. So I hope that makes sense for you. If you're still with me, Chip, what do you think? So far, so good? I mean, really quick, expressive sketches. Looking for just themes and not so much concentrating on the sport so much, but just doing some really interesting things with lenses and so forth and shape. Let's kind of go back into this guy. Let's come back in. A little more accent to it here. Let's kind of put some heat to this beauty. Very interesting. Coming along here. A reflective side in this guy. Catch a shadow in that voice box area. Kind of nice to see, maybe, especially like in Formula One. I'm not talking about a certain, but if you had a voice box or somewhere, you'd have to kind of tune in or whatever and pick up on some of the radio communication work as a part of an integrated mouthpiece. That could be kind of a neat little feature. Let's put this right down the middle. So let's kind of get this guy to go through here and through that, over the top of this, the button piece. Let's get this little reliever in here. There it is. Same on that side. Just about there. Now let's come back and add a little bit of surface here. It's kind of neat because it picks up the same tone as the ink. That's kind of interesting how that, and just bring it underneath again. Notice really quick sketches. Let's get that little tongue underneath here to kind of work with this. Oops, and a minute. Let's get this piece down just a bit more. There we are. Takes that part. Let's get this lower piece in place here, and we're in good shape. I'll come back and define a little bit more on this guy. Let's get that little paddle piece, a little insert piece, some more concept here, and then lens. And let's do this. Come right back in, pick up that same little bit of an accent color back here. Just add a little bit of tone to it. How's that? And reflect that, some of that into the actual shape here. And let's come back in, tighten down just a little bit here, a little bit of drawing. There it is. Little study there to kind of keep things moving. That shape is forever associated with the Vader. Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? The Vader, that's exactly right. Vader, why with that triangle mouth? Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's interesting. I'm trying to get that mouthpiece to kind of work for us here. So let's go back and look at this. Let's put a little bit more of a clarified, just a simple little lens study here. Let's keep it nice and transparent here. Just going to go through that. Nice and simple underneath. There it is. Let's get a bit of color in this guy. Go back to that initial, that kind of work here. And we'll kind of tune in here. A little bit of this on the deeper side, a little bit of channeling through this. And this. Notice I'm working extremely quick, as you always should with markers. I mean, they're extremely unforgiving. And I think the more lucid you are with them, the quicker they become much more magical in terms of not trying to trap things in here. Just a little bit of that on the backside. Let's get that color underneath here to work. And we'll make this guy really function here. A bit of drawing back into this beauty. And again, another little family of shapes here. What do you think there, guys? Helmets are always hard because you play with people's perception of the human face, trying to read. Yeah, it really is. That's a good point, Chip. Excellent point to bring up here. So let's kind of go back and put a little bit more background tone in this guy. A little bit of flavor to it. Keep it nice and simple. And we keep it all very horizontal now. Just to kind of run through this just a bit. Just a touch of this. Take it off the page, just a touch. Bring it through a little bit more. Just working here with a little bit of page composition. Give it a little bit more presence. Oh, it's working right through it. Right through it. Just enough to kind of zing it through. And there you are. There's a nice little composition page here. It kind of brings out the best, hopefully, in some of the surfaces we're dealing with here. It kind of give you a little bit more shape and some distinction. Very interesting. Let's do this. Let's patch a little bit more on this guy, just a touch more, to get this a little bit more reflective quality in this lens. There we go. That's better. Bring that right on through into center line. All of a sudden, it's got a bit of a spooky look to it, and I think you're right, Chip. They take on a human or facial personality, which I think is interesting from the very get-go here. So again, looking at how to deal with a very volatile system like Marker. Now, I'm not saying these are specific design systems for any given look, but I just want to go through a series of concept sketches on A, lucid sketches, B, lucid work with Marker, and just very, very, very simple looking, cool looking stuff in terms of will they adapt? Can you begin to mold them or shape them in some way to a format here? Now let's see, very aggressive eyeline. Yeah, I'm referring to which one here, Chip? I mean, this guy here or this one down below? And that whole helmet, the visor piece. That one or that one? I'm not quite sure where you are here. Just gonna kind of come back in through here. There we are. There's another little study here that we're dealing with. The top one, the biggest, the largest sketch. Yeah, it's got a bit of an evil look to it. And I think, again, if you took some of this away, for example, you start to look at maybe modifying the lens and going all the way through, it could be very adaptable for a certain sport element, for example, like a Formula One machine of some sort. I'm not sure if that would really apply, but I think these ideas here are not intended, as I said in the very beginning, to be related to a particular sport. However, you could begin to take a look at some of these guys and begin to adapt them. And what I'm looking for here is a variety of shapes that maybe in future streams or whatever you can come back to and revisit and maybe modify into a certain sporting element of some sort. Now give it a definite title. So this is sketch number 2. Let's go back in a little bit more geometric, some of the almost a stealth-like look here, where I come back in and get a little more of this kind of a look to it. Very, very straightforward. So let's go back in and get this all to kind of work. Let's go back. This is all going to be very much more pure glass, not so much of a tint. There it is. Get that little highlight to read through here for us. Come back in again. Notice again, real quick with the glass, with the marker. Lightweight touch, a little more impact up on top here. Let's put a little bit of impact in this guy, get a little bit of color to it. And just keep it not direct. Let's go back and move a bit of transparency in this thing, show you how this thing begins to function on the inside piece. Down the highlight into the inside of this guy, ends it there. Let's come back in and put a little bit more heat to this thing, a little more surface to deal with. Let's go back to a number 4. It's a nice simple little approach here. Again, real quick. Not that I'm trying to sell, for example, the helter-skelter worker is very spontaneous, but I think the idea of working quickly with markers is so paramount because again, keep it nice and simple up on top, very instructive, very simple, and at the same time, telegraphing what the shape is actually doing. No need to really kind of stress a lot on this side. Let's get that shadow side down, peek that in, and then that's it. Look how simple that becomes. And all of a sudden it just hopefully jumps off the page for us. I mean, there's not a lot of work there, but I think that's the idea of having a really good sketch to work with to begin with. And I think you can go back in and do a little bit more detail work here with this, a little more design work, a bit of weight in this guy, kind of change the pace just a touch, take it off the page just a bit. Maybe there's a little bit more of an audio piece in here of some sort, I don't know. just modifying as we go, looking for certain themes, and as it all begins to come together. Again, very quick and simple, a lot of line weight work, a lot of really interesting shaped surfaces. Let's go back in again, a little bit of color. Now let's go all the way with the color here. Let's kind of walk right through this guy. Notice really quick strokes. Isn't it simple? And again, maybe this time we go a little bit more of an evil, darker approach in the lens itself. Let's try that. Walking in lightly first. Got a little more tone to it here. Let's go back and pick up about a number 7. That looks good. If you're still there, what I really want you to notice is how quickly I'm working to get these guys to read. Really not getting into a lot of detail yet. I'm just looking for a theme, some grace, a little bit of study to it here, a bit more shape to it. Let's come back in, right down to looking for about a number 5 here. Is that, yeah, that's the one I want. Very cool. Let's get that all just kind of stoned in just a bit more, and then lose it. Again, right back to a little bit of a tone collar here. And come back in a little bit of drawing definition over this guy. Fun stuff. Again, I want to really stress, not looking for a lot of detail here, just looking for theme and looking for your input here. Quick studies of shapes. Yeah, they're very quick studies of shapes. And I think that's the reason for the exercise here, Chip, is to not get caught up with the finite yet, just doing a lot of research work into what shapes might function, what looks good, how we can adapt some forms here to deal with some of the elements we're working with here. More detail added into this, maybe some flexible strap or an attachment point of some piece, removable. Again, notice really quick. A bit of tone, pardon me, I turn this upside down. A bit of a shadow break in this guy. And last but not least, maybe just a little hard hit right up front here. And shadow underneath here. And there, and a little bit more there. There it is. Really fast little sketches here. But again, the whole idea is to get really unique with the fact that looking for form, different ways of looking at certain things. Let's go back to this guy again. Let's get a little bit of that translucency in here. Show us where we are on the inside of the actual helmet. Get this guy to read a little bit more. Have the number 1 gray, just got to crank through it here. Simple value study. Sometimes just enough impact to get the job done. There it is there. There it is there. Inside that. Down below, a little bit of collar work. Keep it that generous. And there it is. And again, a little bit more drawing definition in this guy. And we've got a nice family of forms coming together here. And there we are, another little page of this comp work, and again, very rapid look at certain surfaces, shapes, applications. Will it work? Will it not work? Does it apply and not apply? I mean, just really interesting things here to deal with. So I'm going to go back in and get a little bit of that background piece in here. What do you think, Chip? Still there? Right through it. And there we are. Some little background work in there, and we got it. I'm here. Hey, look at the original. Hey, that's pretty neat. Some cool stuff there, Chip. So what do you think? Coming along together all right? Really appreciate you hanging on here. And again, like the whole purpose today, again, is to always keep hammering home the fact that a good lucid sketch, coming back in with some certain things, materials, and so the quicker you work, the more lucid it becomes, the more it frees your imagination up. And I think that's really important, that you don't get frozen in being so perfect with this stuff. These are nothing more than concept sketches that do nothing more than develop a concept, and that's what we're after. Things that might apply, great, we can work with them. If they don't apply, then we just got to get rid of them and move on to the next one. Let's go back here for a second. There's another one here. I'm back in another little quick and dirty now, a little bit more organic now. It's getting a little bit more adventuresome with something. I don't know where these helmets would apply, but again, we're looking for very interesting shapes and how they are going to move through the matrix, so to speak, here. So let's kind of get back in with this guy and start this beauty here. That's that. Let's come back in with a little bit of color in this beauty. And a little more impact in this lens. And we'll come back in, tune a little bit up with a bit of drawing definition. Call that a study. What do you think, eh? There she be. There's A. Let's come back in again. Let's get a little bit of a lighter tone here. Let's go back into this guy. A little more organic. Keeping that nice and free. I'm going to keep that nice and easy here. Now in this case, we go back to let's go to the back side of this guy and tone this out. Back in. One more shot at it here. Another good old number 7. Let's kind of put this back just a bit more. Just tone it down. A little bolder back here. How's that? And up the front fascia here. And a little bit of color. I think we got it. Couple of little dihedrals up on top here to kind of some stability. A bit of color down below. And I think that calls it. A bit of reflective light. And there it is. Another little study here. Let's kind of go back and do a little bit of drawing definition. There we go. There's study number 2. What do you think there, Chip? Still hanging on there? Man, that's a lot of fun. Really interesting stuff here. So let's kind of go right back to them. Still really kind of brutalize this beauty here. Let's get this again. back that. Where am I here? At 6. I need a number 7, and it's right here. Very good. That's that. Let's take a little bit of a different look here. And a little bit lighter underneath here. Let's see if I can find that lighter tone. No, not that one. There it is. Run that highlight through just a bit. Edge territory of that, just a touch. We'll come back in there with a little bit of high impact. Some interesting high impact. There we go. Again, notice real quick strokes, just blocking surfaces in, not getting all caught up and being perfect with it, just getting a lot of good shadow definition and a lot of contrast. There it is. A little shadow and ventilation work there. And there we are. There's another little family of form studies there, guys. And I think it's interesting that we just kind of bring maybe a new flavor to some here. Some of these things might look pretty cool upside down. I don't know. We'll just have to take a look at where we are with some of the process that we're doing here and pick up on something that might be applicable down the line. Their original shapes, I like them. Yeah, they're very, very unique. I think, again, appreciate that, Chip, because again, the purpose of the stream is to break away from the typical round bell helmet look. Look at shapes that might apply for space travel, for sporting devices. Again, I'm not putting a label on it here yet. I'm just trying to develop some surface work here to kind of get this thing nice and clean here. Let's go back this way. Go a little bit vertical with this guy now. And just be real simple. And there is study number 4. Just a really quick little simple shapes here to kind of work with. And there it is. There's some little color studies, some little thumbnail sketches to work with here. Kind of fun to deal with, but I thought we'd let's try this. Let's do this, just for what it's worth. I'll go back and review here. Hang on a minute. Let's line them up here as we start to finish. Let's go back and I want to show you, for example, what I'm referring to with these. I keep referring to this very lucid sketch, this approach here. Let's kind of get a fresh sheet of paper here, and we'll kind of bear with me. I'm going to show you how this whole thing starts. And I think it's an important part of the lesson plan as far as if we're looking at something to work with or to be extract as a teaching device of some sort, that's fine. But I think the thing that's really interesting is when you start the whole process, notice it always goes geometrically. Come back in through here. There it is, nice and easy. Find where your perspective center is. Come back in and now rotate out of it. Build the shapes. Stay with it. Change the tempo. I'm just moving through this thing very rapidly here, making certain form studies working together here. Let's come back in and break this up a bit more here. Let's get a bit of a tag system on this guy. And then now look how quickly that shape came together. Let's go back a little bit more evil with this thing. Just got to break in this. Notice I'm using that center line and that circle as a guide to develop that form. And that's what really is unique about this process. It's not the fact that the sketches are great, it's how you think your way through the process and make it begin to develop. And there's one there, and maybe one there, a little recess, a little bit of recess there. Let's go back and put a little bit of background in this guy, give a little bit of presence to it. Again, the reason for closing out this sketch like this is to show you what this thing looks like. And I go back down below, even the little composition stuff. Maybe it comes into this. Maybe you modify it down through here and come back in again. How it changes shape. Come back in again. And this form comes around. Does that perhaps. Little button snap here. Again, notice how that whole form changed in the actual side view here. Let's kind of come back and combine this guy. Let's break this through. Let's bring that through. Composition piece here. That's a little vertical. Again, over here. I mean, there's a series of little thumbnail sketches. It's just real quick, fast sketches that kind of knows again. Yeah, well, again, Chip, the idea here, thank you very much, but I think the idea here is the idea of generating a sketch is so vital. Notice there's a lot of looseness in here. I'm not really paying attention to a lot of detail. Each one of these sketches are really lucid. Again, a lot of factor of being perfect. But notice, again, a little bit of a change of pace and through here. And again, a little bit of a helmet design back, and maybe that's got a little bit of a brow on it. You know, again, just modifying as I go here. So the quicker you work, I think, the more spontaneous it becomes, and the fresher these sketches begin to look. And when you're all said and done, you come back in with just a simple little backdrop like this. You come back in. Now, changing pace, go to marker. Put a little bit of vignette back in through here. Give yourself a bit of a frame to work with. Kind of turn this over just a bit. Let's build this up just a bit. And before you know it, in an instant, we'll be all done here, guys. Thank you for your patience. Again, notice, same process. Just put a bit of stain in this thing. Real quick. See if I can get a darker tone here. Let's go down to a number 8. That's 7. Yeah, that'd be good. Let's try 7 here. A little darker. Yeah, it's better. A little bit of background work. Let that go. Come back in through here. A little bit of this background work. Just to get a little bit of a vignette. Connect the dots just a touch. I'm trying to show you here is how quickly this stuff comes together if you just get real spontaneous with it and not be concerned about perfection, just developing the idea and begin to break it all out and let it do its thing. Come back in through here very naturally. Add a little bit more tone to it. Save a little bit of space underneath here so you get that reflected light quality into this thing. And then back into this. All of a sudden, without an awful lot of expression, that starts to take on some character or some detail. Rapid iterations is what you need when you're doing concepts, something. And then, yeah, that's right. You develop it further in Chip. You got it. So here it is, a bit of masking device here. Let's get that little bit of a different chisel to it. Little theme work in here. Again, a little bit of highlight where the mask is. A bit of relief in through here. That negative is up on top, and before you know it, you've got one here. Let's go back in and add a little bit more of what I refer to as a number 6 gray. There's a 4 that might help. So gonna be a little bit of a lens working through here. So let's do this. Not enough. Let's come back and get a good number 6. Let's see if that'll work. Oh, that's not gonna work. Let's get this guy here. Let's see what this 6 will do for us here. That's better. Working them all in conjunction. No real favorites. Just running that on through. And there it is there. Let's put a little bit of an undercut in this guy where we had it. There's that little bit there. Gonna use that same marker. Put a bit of tone in this thing. Change it there. I'm setting it all up here as we go here, guys. Oh, let's get this all set too. I mean, look how rapid that sketch is, but yet, hopefully, it all begins to kind of formulate the idea or the concept here. Let's kind of go back and do a little bit of variation on theme here. Let's just do this real quickly. Man, zoom, there it is. You're done. How quickly that is. Just really quick, and I think that's the most important part of the lesson here. Let's go back to the light source on this side. Tone it. If I can lose it just a bit, notice really just feeling the surfaces, not so much trying to be perfect with it, just feeling the shapes. And coming back in. This. And again, you know how rapid that became there, guys. Let's go back and get a little bit of that tone in through here. A little shadow on this guy, so it looks legitimate. little bit of color added over here, and we got it. And there it is. I mean, look how really rapid those guys came together with not an awful effort, just going through the concept sketch itself. The sketch becomes an important part. Now notice there's a lot of overworking through here, a lot of drawing through it. I'm really not falling in love with the fact that, gee, this is a perfect sketch. Let's try one more thing here, just for what it's worth. Try to get this guy out. So the timing here, guys, we'll just break this down here. Let's take this thing here and add a little bit more of this. And there we are, gang. There you go. The simple series of sketches to really kind of put it all together here. So, Chip, you're the only guy on board here. What do you think so far? Was this a helpful exercise? Just need to help get your input here. Really, very helpful for the last few minutes here, guys. This is great. I mean, it was a lot of fun for me. I just hope you got some mileage out of it as well. So let's kind of sign this guy up a little bit here. There they are. Let's go back and review here for what we've got. Yeah, it's fun to look at. Just really kind of neat to kind of go through the process here, Chip, looking for concepts and ideas. And let's go back through the lineup here. Started here, just looking at very simple, again, notice every sketch it's very simple volumetric stuff, really drawing through it and being very lucid. And I think that, to me, has always been part of the theme here. Now, you'll see me do some very tight work. Yeah, I like the Corvette piece I started with here. But you'll also see me oftentimes go down the line and just really kind of generate and just develop through and draw through the process. If you draw through it, you'll get to it. That's the key thing. Draw through it to get to it. Understand what it's made out of. So it was the first pass of little thumbnail sketches on helmet concepts. Second one over here, and changing pace, a little bit more color. Same drawing feel, same character, very gesturally, very lucid, but at the same time, when you go through that lucid process, I think this is an important thing, the aspect to really, pardon me, to really clarify. When you go through a lucid, very rapid concept approach, you're not being dictated by a lot of just rushing through it. You're actually searching. When I go through a sketch like this, I'm actually feeling surfaces and going through what's that shape doing? What does it look like? How do I want to illustrate it? What's light doing to it? What are the basic forms? What's it made out of? Those are all part of the process we've talked about before. It all begins with drawing and it ends with drawing. That's the most important part. There's phase 2. Then we came into number 3, a little bit more of a geometric, almost stealth-like approach to certain things where it's much more linear, not a problem at all. Again, same process was used though. Drawing through and developing the shape, seeing what's all the contours are going to do and what the shapes and stuff are going to do. And then the last one, some very organic looking forms, turning it around from something extremely sheer like this to something extremely organic like that. That's where we were. And then the last page was that little study, going a little more organic, a little more daring form and shape, which I think is always fun to do. Step off the envelope, get off the edge and see what happens when you fall. That's what's fun about this whole process. And then last but not least, I started this sketch from square one, just going through some very simple circular geometric forms, building the form off of that, and then developing the shape of the helmet around both the little variations on the theme. So that's it for today, guys, and I really hope you've enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed going through it with you. And again, I always stress this, please, if you're interested in doing some drawing work or developing some talent and expanding your talent base, so to speak, please feel free to visit my website at drcontrast.com. You'll find some 9 lessons in there about basic drawing skills and how to work with certain things like perspective, light source, shape, and form, things we're doing here. Again, drcontrast.com. And again, I can't make the appeal here, Chip. I know you've been doing this, and I really appreciate it. If you have friends, for example, that have time to come in and tune into my stream process on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2 o'clock, that'd be great to have you on board. So please noise it abroad that I'm available here every Tuesday, Thursday from 2 to 4 o'clock or 2 to 3, however long it takes to go through some drawing exercises. I'd love to build my audience on that point of reference as well. And again, last but not least, too, always feel free to drop me a note at jim@drcontrast.com. That's my email address. I'll be happy to kind of tune in some things and get some feedback from you about where we want to take this and future processes and future programs to work with. That would be really cool to deal with. So all that's available to you. Once again, drcontrast.com. That's my website. Look at the learning process there. Send me a note, for example, at jim@drcontrast.com, my email address. And certainly, I want to build the audience. So those of you who are listening, for example, or you pick it up a bit later, pass it on to your friends. I'd love to have my following count move up. I'm really interested in putting this whole process together, not for myself, but to help others get move along their skill set. So all I'd say, thank you very much for the time, Chip. It's always good to have you on board. And again, I was end the stream by stating this because I think it's absolutely paramount. Never forget to remember to dare to be great, because you are. Thanks very much, gang. Take care. We'll see you next Tuesday at 2 o'clock. Thank you. Bye-bye now.